It seems lately, at least in the media, that anyone who does not want to identify as a feminist is instantly branded as some sort of right-wing misogynist who has issues with women. Usually any attempted discussion that offers a dissenting view on feminism is met with accusations of mansplaining or gender treachery and other thought-eliminating language, which only serves to promote dogma. I've always found this frustrating as someone who has always felt that human and individual rights should be among the highest priorities of any civilized society. I feel that women should have the same legal rights as men, which thankfully they do in Western society. In fact, given certain laws, women are far more protected legally than men. If you look at laws regarding domestic violence, parental rights, and protection against genital mutilation. I support abortion rights within reason. On that topic, I'm all for repealing the 8th Amendment here in my home country of Ireland to, at the very least, open up termination as an option for women who are victims of rape and incest, or if the child is going to be born with a horrific genetic disorder that will greatly affect their standard of living. I'm an advocate for the rights of women and men. At this stage you might be thinking this, but Damo, if you're a believer in equal rights between men and women, then you're a feminist. That's what feminism means. Look, it's right here in the dictionary. If that's the case, then I'm afraid we disagree. Now maybe there are some of you watching that have just become filled with a desire to switch this video off. He clearly doesn't know what feminism is. I have no time for this moron. But please hold your horses and hear me out. This is not a video telling you not to be a feminist. This is a video explaining why I, and many other people, do not want to use the title. The better you understand where I'm coming from, the better we can communicate on matters like gender, right? And if we can learn anything from history, it's that refusing to listen to opposing views, and even worse, silencing them, only leads to bad things, and in some cases very, very bad things. So, why am I not a feminist? Well, I used to consider myself one many years ago before I became more aware of the actual theories that make up feminism. So, without making this first video too long, I'll explain why two commonly espoused feminist theories do not stand up to at least my scrutiny. Patriarchy theory. This is the main backbone of feminist theory that has many different iterations, but basically comes down to the idea that society is constructed to benefit men at the expense of women. Now, as I said, this has many different imaginings due to different intersections and schools of thought in feminism, but it dominantly seems to put the blame on men in a collective sense, describing men as working as an ideologically oppressive collective, as if all men behave as a hive mind instead of a gender. And although women and men's typical behaviour can be categorised psychologically, I feel that if history has taught us anything, it is of tremendous importance not to treat groups in a collective conspiratorial manner. Patriarchy theory also falls foul of what's called the apex fallacy. This is when a group, in this case all of the male gender, is evaluated based on the performance of its best group members. If we look at worldwide rates of homelessness, workplace fatalities, suicide, child custody, parental rights, and gender disparities in jail term sentencing, we can see very clearly that things aren't quite as simple as saying men have it better than women because there are more men in positions of power. Of course, this is not to say there aren't cases of sexism and injustice in the world, or systems in place that may not play a fair hand to both sexes, but to tie it to a collectivist conspiracy out to oppress half the population is looking at it through a blurred lens. This world of ours is a complicated and nuanced place, and we should be looking at it in a much higher resolution than what different feminist patriarchy theories have to offer. There's a lot more to this topic, and I may go into more detail in another video. We'll see, perhaps at the risk of beating a dead horse considering there are countless other YouTube channels that have tackled these topics. Domestic abuse. When it comes to treating domestic abuse in the West, the main intervention program that is adopted the most is the Duluth model, a system based on feminist theory that states that domestic violence is the result of patriarchal ideology in which men are encouraged and expected to control their partners. As someone who has been on the receiving end of relationship violence for several years in the past, this was probably the first inkling I had as to how wrong academic feminist theory has things. This is a system that seats the blame of abuse solely on the male, even if he is the one being abused. Because with the Duluth model, men are the sole perpetrators of control and abuse in society throughout history, whereas women are never. Now, although there are certain feminists whom I have talked with who are critical of this model, and fair play to them, although they do seem to be quite rare, the Duluth model has put a foul taste in my mouth regarding this topic, and the fact that it's still the leading program that treats domestic abuse in the West shows me that there's nearly no serious push to critically address it within feminism. Someone who I really feel has been a true champion in combating domestic and familial violence is the woman who opened the world's first shelter for battered women, Erin Pizzey. I'll leave a link to more information on her in the description. There's plenty of content on Erin online, and I highly recommend hearing her story. The main point I'd like to make in this video is that just because someone does not want to identify as a feminist due to what they feel are bad practices in bad academia or any other reason does not automatically make them a misogynist or your enemy. Rather than looking at how we label each other, why not look at what our base principles are regarding these topics? After all, feminism does not have the monopoly on ideas regarding equality, so when you hear someone say they prefer not to identify as a feminist, don't be so quick to dismiss them. Why not ask them why they aren't? Or, if the person is misinformed on how you view feminism, it might be a great opportunity to share your views with them. On that note, feel free to share your view on this topic in the comment section below. I hope to make more videos in the future, so feel free to hit the subscribe button if you would like to see more. My name is Damo, and thanks for listening.